Have you ever felt like your ADHD meds are the only thing that is keeping your life together, but at the same time you are also scared of needing them forever? Someone I know was told by the doctor that they have become dependent on ADHD medication and they got extremely anxious due to it. The word dependent actually makes it feel like something is wrong with you, but here's the truth that no one explains properly. Needing something that helps you function is not automatically a bad thing. Think about it like this: if you wear glasses every day, are you dependent on them? Well, technically yes, but without them you can't just see clearly. So the real question isn't I am dependent, it's actually is this helping you live better? But here's how it gets tricky with ADHD, because meds do help and sometimes they help a lot. You take it and you suddenly can focus, you can start tasks, you feel like a normal person for once, and that feeling is powerful, almost addictive, not chemically but psychologically, because for the first time things feel under control and you don't want to lose that. But then comes the fear: what if I can't function without this? What if you always need ADHD medicines to be normal? What if you cannot function without them? That's where most people get stuck. They get stuck between relief and dependence. So let us break this down properly. There are actually two kinds of dependency that you can build around ADHD meds. The first one is physical. Your body gets used to something. It is exactly like caffeine. Skip it and you get a headache. And that doesn't mean you are broken. It just means your body adapted to it. ADHD meds can work the same way sometimes, but that's not the main issue people are afraid of. The real fear is this: will I need this for the rest of my life? And here's the honest answer: not necessarily, because medication is just one tool. It is not the only solution. It is not the ultimate solution. This is where most people misunderstand ADHD. They think ADHD is only about focus, but it is not. ADHD is actually all about systems. It's about structure. It's about how your brain manages tasks, time and priorities. And medication doesn't teach you any of that. It just makes it temporarily easier for you to function. That's why the moment you stop, everything can fall apart, because the underlying problem was never fully solved. It was just being managed. Now here's something most people don't know: therapy and skill building can be just as effective as medication. It may not help instantly, but for the long term it sticks, because you're not just feeling focused, you are actually learning how to function using a screwed brain. You have to learn to build systems, you have to learn to build routines, and you have to learn how to work with your brain instead of fighting it. And once those systems are in place, you don't need to rely on willpower anymore. That's the difference. Medication gives you temporary control, but the effective systems give you long lasting control. Now don't get me wrong, medication can be useful. Sometimes it is even necessary, and especially when life is overwhelming, medications do make sense. But here's the problem: most people don't stop there. They take the pill, but they never build the system, and then it actually turns into this cycle where you take meds and things improve temporarily, but then you stop and then you are back to square one. And that's what creates the feeling of dependence, not because the medication is evil, but because nothing else was built alongside it. So what's the alternative? What actually breaks this cycle? What actually breaks this cycle of dependence? So you actually need a system designed for ADHD brains. You do not need general advices, you need working systems. You need something practical, you need something simple, something that actually works for the long term when your brain doesn't cooperate. That's why I created my own ADHD solver guide, because I was tired of seeing people only relying on medication and not building actual systems. My guide actually focuses on real usable strategies. It contains my self-discovered coping techniques that you won't find elsewhere. I have spent years and years experimenting myself to discover them. It will teach you how to structure your day so your brain doesn't sabotage you, and most importantly, it will teach you how to reduce your reliance on medication over time. And it can be done not by forcing yourself, but by building actual systems that makes things easier naturally and for the long term. This isn't about quitting meds overnight. It's about giving yourself another reliable option, an option where you're not scared of missing a dose, an option where you actually feel in control. Because at the end of the day, you don't just want to function, you want freedom. You want freedom from chaos, you want freedom from constant struggle, you want freedom from daily executive paralysis, you want freedom from relying on something to be normal. And let me tell you, that's possible, but only if you go beyond quick fixes, if you can look beyond medication. So if you're tired of feeling dependent and if you want a long-term real solution, check out the ADHD solver guide in the description. It might just change the way you handle your brain forever.